Hello, everybody. We are those guys you hate.
Welcome to the show that encourages you to be your best self by not being like us.
My brother and I hopelessly search for nuance as we wade through wacky segments and crazy conversations.
If you can withstand the insanity, you might actually learn something.
Tyler, what are you getting into on this week's podcast?
Ryan, OJ Simpson is dead.
What?
And with over 14,000 total yards in the NFL, there isn't much else to remember him by.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Except that amazing feat. And Idaho, known for their hate groups and their badass grandmas. More on one of those things later. Ryan?
In potatoes.
Yeah, whatever.
In potatoes.
Yeah, whatever.
Tyler, on this week's show, should I say it? You know what? I'm going to say it. Matt Lauer, not a good dude. And AI finally makes it so much easier to find that woman who's been avoiding you. On this week's
Oh, Jesus.
Those Guys You Hate. It finally happened, Tyler.
What's that?
It finally happened over time. We are now seeing that people don't want you to buy their products. They want you to subscribe to something that they maintain ownership of. And I'm fucking tired of it, Tyler.
Yeah, they don't want people to own things anymore. They just want you to rent.
If you buy something, it's a one-shot deal.
Yeah.
Now you have my money and you hold on to it until it breaks or whatever the deal is. They want you to pay them to borrow it.
Yeah.
And what's your thoughts on that? The fall of the Western civilization.
Yeah, I mean, we see it from something as grand as owning a home, where these private businesses are now buying up all this real estate. They're trying to turn Americans into renters for life, and something as innocuous as video games. The games as a service where you have to pay a monthly fee every month just to play a fucking game. It's ridiculous.
And it's all based on the idea of convenience. They've got us by the, pardon my French, nads, because we don't want to do anything that's difficult. I've talked about how Apple and that son of a bitch, Steve Trabajo, have got me. They're holding me hostage with my memories. They said, you can't have your pictures back unless you start giving us $2 a month.
Yeah.
Or $1.99, which makes me feel a little bit better.
Just become nihilistic. Just say, screw my past. I don't give a shit about any of those photos. I'm done.
Okay, I'm working my way up to that. But again, the nads, Tyler.
Yeah, the cojones.
And now my $1.99 is no longer good enough.
No.
Now they want $10 a month, which that's at least $100 a year, Tyler.
Give or take,
Give or take. You know, I'm not a mathemologist. But the fact of the matter is, I finally gave in, and now Gmail fucking got me, bro.
Yeah.
Gmail fucking got me. Do you know what it is that I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. It's the same exact thing where you're running out of space and they want you to buy more.
And I thought, not unlike my parents when I was a kid, and all I needed to do was make my mom laugh, and I knew I was out of trouble. I thought it was just false threats. I thought they were just bullshitting. They did it.
Yeah.
They did it. I went to compose an email, which, by the way, my job that I don't have is complete. I couldn't change my email if I wanted to. They've got me by the work nads.
Yeah.
And I am fucked. I am now paying Gmail. I don't even know what I'm paying them, but they fucking did it to me. Just like Steve Trabajo did it to me, and they got me by the fucking work nads, and I'm fucking tired of it, Tyler.
Wiki, white boy rant.
I'm serious about it, man.
We're starting this episode hot.
We are starting this episode hot, and I'm doing a thing. I am waving my shtick to everybody, but the fact of the matter is, I'm fucking serious. We're in the digital wild, wild west, and they're cashing in on our stupid asses.
Wiki wow. I agree with you, and it's only going to get worse. That's why when these companies come out where they don't do those things, it's seen as like this saving grace. Like, oh, we got to go to them because they're one of the few who aren't trying to fuck us.
1,000,000%. I still have my Chromebook. I think it's an HP Chromebook from back in the day. I don't know if they even make those anymore, but the whole point of the Chromebook was it doesn't break down. I still have it. It may or may not be my jerk computer. I will neither confirm nor deny. It's rude of you to bring that up.
Sorry I did that.
But when I open it up and it still works 5 years later, my thought is, you fucking idiots. How dare you build something that lasts? Like, this would never be made today.
Yeah. Well, this has been on the rise for the last 100 years. I mean, you could go back to the original example of when the light bulb was first being sold to the population.
Thanks a lot, Benjamin Franklin. I think.
Or whoever you stole the idea from.
I'm not a historiologist, Tyler, and I think I've made that clear.
So they realized, wow, we're making these things to last forever, and then they started specifically designing them to break down so people would have to buy more.
Imagine a world where we just bought one light bulb.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Yeah,
that would be beautiful. Yeah. Could you imagine what that would do for the environment,
think
Tyler?
of the poor rich people.
Yeah, that's true.
They're the sad rich people.
They've had a lot to go through, so me having to buy 6 refrigerators this year actually makes a lot of sense.
Okay, 6 refrigerators a year. You might be doing something wrong.
I keep the smaller refrigerator in the bigger refrigerator. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Those Guys You Hate. I am your tour guide, Ryan Menendez, and to your left, you will see an emergency exit, but to your right, you will see Tyler Menendez, my brother, my friend, my lover.
No, I think I'm on their left.
Oh, yeah. Excuse me.
He can't even get his left or his right correct, so I'm clearly not his lover. That is obviously just something he fabricated in his mind.
The left is the stranger.
Yeah.
I'm ranting and raving mad because it's unfair and it is unjust what is being done to us. Again, shtick in the face. I genuinely mean what it is that I'm talking about. I feel like my American freedoms are being impeded upon.
They are.
By these technological companies that are now becoming our government.
Yeah. No, not becoming. They are.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yes. And is anybody going to say anything about that? Is anybody going to bring it up?
Well, a lot of people are saying things about it. It's just nobody in power.
Yeah, the people who are paying for the things, not the people who are making the money. All right, guys. Well, I will stop ranting about my, technological inefficiencies. Welcome to the show. Today we have so much to offer you. We have a Happy Death Day. We have a Ryan's Vault of Sound. We have a Don't Kill But When You Do for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
But this show at its core is centered around mental health. So let's do the staple Depression Index.
No one cares.
What the Depression Index is a machine that I built. We've kind of hinted that it's made out of dead bodies before. It's a whole fucking deal. But really what it is Tyler and I talk about how we're feeling and we discuss mental health and where we're at this week. So Tyler, answer those questions.
I'm doing better this week.
You look better. You seem better.
Thank you. I've been struggling over the last few weeks. Pretty dire. I've been in pretty dire straits. This week I'm feeling a lot better. I woke up a lot of times or sometimes whenever you have to hit rock bottom, your own personal rock bottom, in order to make the necessary changes.
For sure. Is that every time? I guess it's not every time.
No, definitely not.
Just the good times.
Some people can just wake up and be like, I'm miserable. Let's make a change.
I hate those people. I hate those people.
Hate's a strong word.
I really hate those people.
Okay, better. You zigged when I thought you were going to zag.
It bums me out when people aren't fucked up like I am. You know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean.
You do.
I cheer for people. I want them to succeed.
You do. All right.
Are you blinking at me? What's happening?
I'm winking with both eyes.
But I woke up on Tuesday morning and I said, that's it. Enough is enough. I'm done living like this. I can't do it anymore. It's either this, or if I keep going the way that I'm going, I'm either going to die by my actions or I'm just going to actively kill myself. So since Tuesday, it's only been a few days, but since Tuesday, I have eaten very clean. I've meditated twice a day, every day.
Great, man.
Exercised every day. I'm actually going to go exercise when we're done here.
Me too. I cannot wait.
And I haven't had a single sip of alcohol. So it's been a good change. The one thing I do notice is that I was drinking every single day, and at that exact time of day, I was numbing myself. And now when that time of day comes around and I am no longer drinking as I have been, the anxiety really kicks my ass.
Yeah, we've talked that like 5 o'clock in the afternoon for you is a tough time.
Really tough.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful because when 8 o'clock comes around, it begins to diminish. So back in my 20s when I was really suffering from anxiety, it was all day, every day. I'd wake up with anxiety, and at night it would be peak anxiety. Right now, I'm dealing with it in like 4-hour increments on a daily
Installments.
basis. Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
So, it's going to
and that's awareness. That's you're learning about yourself. You're learning about your patterns. And once you know that, you can kind of figure out a way to work with it. Not fix it, but work with it, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And you also have to remember that when we use these substances, our body becomes dependent on them, especially alcohol. Alcohol, you can drink so much that if you just quit outright, you'll die. Literally die.
Shit, where your body
from alcohol
becomes
withdrawal.
dependent on it.
Exactly.
Right.
So if you
I
drink,
got
no, you don't. So if you drink like I do, we're obviously not that heavily, but
Nah, you ain't like that.
No, not like obviously.
You got beautiful skin.
Thank you.
You know the people who drink where they get the big. It affects you physically.
The whiskey nose,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
So I've been, but because I became dependent to that level on it, I'm getting the anxiety later in the day. So, yeah, I'm doing better. We'll see how it goes.
I saw you cleaned your room.
Cleaned my room.
Saw you did some laundry.
I did.
I mean, these are all little things that in the moment you don't feel like doing them, but they slowly, incrementally build you up a little bit.
Definitely.
You know?
Yeah, I got to keep doing it until the day that I die.
Sure.
Why does laundry never stop?
And why does death take so long?
That's true.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it doesn't have to.
They could intersect somewhere in the middle. Can I say, on behalf of the Haitian Army,
Wow! Congratulations!
we support you, Tyler.
Thank you.
We want to see you do better, and you look like you're doing better.
Thank you.
And it's not a circumstance. It's something that you're actively doing.
I am.
Happiness is a chore.
It is.
Yeah.
Boy, is it a struggle.
Yeah.
So this week I am at I'll say a 6.
Spin that
1,
wheel, Tyler.
2, 3, 4, 5,
Wow! Seamless.
6. Yeah.
Great job, Tyler.
It's all right. We'll edit that to make it sound so smart.
Definitely a real machine, that's for sure. Gay it up, Tyler. This actually, there's a confluence with what you just said perfectly. I would say I am not going to bring it up this week that I'm in yoga teacher training. It's starting to wear on people, so I won't bring it up at all. But I am. And what I have recognized, and everybody already knows this, or at least I think everybody knows it, I know you do, is no matter what you do, problems ensue. So if you're sitting around all day doing nothing, you will have anxiety about that. If you decide to make it, do something better for yourself, hey, I'm going to clean my room, I'm going to do my laundry, that's going to be better for you. But doing those things creates new problems for you. They're going to be new problems. And here is what my depression index is about this week. While doing something that I am super proud of and I'm struggling very hard with because, Tyler, our body's not conducive to yoga. What I have recognized is that no matter what you're doing, as you're trying to better yourself, new problems ensue. There is nothing that you're going to do that is going to get you out of your problems. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I believe that happiness actually stems from overcoming your problems. There'll
Very
never
good.
be an ending to problems. The happiness actually comes from overcoming every problem that comes before you.
And there is no such thing as a problem-free life. You
Never.
know, rich people have money problems. Poor people have money problems. They're just different problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the idea is, this is the way that I'm looking at me struggling in that class right now. My problems are getting better. My problems are getting better. Now I have this new issue of something that I need to take on, but it's not drug use. It's not me not showing up to my job. It's not all of these things that perhaps I've done in my past. Perhaps I haven't. Who knows? My problems are getting better, and I really believe that that is the way to make your life better. You're trying to solve your problems and not avoid them, and hopefully while doing that, your problems keep increasing.
Sure. If I may change subtly the terminology you're using.
You may not.
But I'm going to.
Sure.
Your problems aren't getting better. Your ability to deal with your problems are getting better. And when we become more responsible and act on our problems as they're happening instead of pushing them off, they don't deteriorate and become even bigger problems.
That's true.
Yeah. So the problems are always going to be there. And sometime down the line, if we're lucky and we make it that long, something really huge is going to happen. It's going to be a big problem, but our ability to deal with it has evolved and strengthened, and which makes it a lot easier.
You're totally right, and I meant your problems will increase in how dire they are. Instead of making decisions that keeps pushing you down the hill, down the well. What?
I could push you down a hill.
I could push you down a well, Tyler.
You could.
I think that would be much worse.
You could,
So
yeah.
I would be very careful with what I say next.
Probably.
Well. I think the idea is to just keep making good decisions so these new problems you're always going to have problems. A life devoid of problems does not exist. But hopefully you are now having problems that are better for you. My issues that I've had over this week that I've documented to you personally, and I got to say thank you for being there for me, truly.
Mm-hmm.
It really helps out a lot. Man, the way that I handled them would have been so much different. You were talking about drinking. I had 2 glasses of wine for the first time in over 2 weeks. And you know what? Didn't make me feel much better. Not something that's just helping me anymore. So anyway, enough of my bragging. This week I am at a 4, baby. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Always gotta be better than me.
We hold each other up, Tyler. Now, what do you think? Should we go to a break here, or do you want to give me a HDD? Is that Happy Dick Day? What is that?
That's a happy death day.
A Happy Death Day. Forgive me. You wanna cram it in real quick, or should we?
We should probably go to break first.
All right, we're gonna take a little break. When we come back, Tyler dances on somebody's grave.
Hey everyone. If you're anything like us, you've struggled with depression, anxiety, isolation, or any number of things that hold you back in life.
Or do you procrastinate a little too much? Maybe you've had trouble with self-control or even just going through a tough time. Regardless of whatever it is you're going through, therapy can help.
For me, Ryan, it's completely changed the way I deal with my problems. Even the relationship with my own thoughts have improved dramatically.
And that's why we're excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp.
BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. And this is so important to us because finding a therapist can be really hard, especially when you're limited to the options in your area.
BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you up to a professional therapist in as little as a few days.
It's easy to sign up and get matched with a therapist. Go to betterhelp.com/thoseguys or click on the link in the show's description. Clicking on that link not only supports us, but supports you.
And we want to support you too by giving you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp to connect with a therapist and see if it helps you.
Finding the right therapist is so important, someone that you really connect with, and BetterHelp has made that easier than ever. Switching therapists until you find the right one without having to worry about insurance or any additional fees.
You know, Tyler, when I first had my son, I felt so many emotions that I had never experienced in my life. Therapy really helped me figure out what was going on.
Well, that is betterhelp.com/thoseguys. Help the show by supporting the people that help us.
Those guys.
There are people that are still on the fringes of society. We can still make fun of fat people. We can still make fun of bald people. We can still make fun of people who blow their extremities off of fireworks. It needs to be equality for everyone.
Can you make fun of that last group? Make fun of people who blow their extremities off with fireworks?
There was a football player who very recently blew off like 4 of his fingers, and we all had our laughs at Jean-Pierre Paul.
Did we have a laugh? I thought it was
Absolutely.
horrific, and it was a terrible invasion of privacy because
Well-
his medical records were put out there for the world to see.
If you don't want your privacy to be invaded, then be a little bit more responsible on Freedom Day, Tyler.
You hate.
Wait, I'm now arguing.
That sounds like an infringement of freedom.
I'm arguing on the other side that I started off on. I told you I'm keeping you on track,
Full
okay?
circle, baby.
I could do this. Necrophilia of victimless crime, Tyler. Now,
Those guys you hate. Guys you hate. Guys you hate. Guys you hate.
Oh, you're about to be able to give them.
Yep.
Red circle.
and we are back, baby. Tyler, you have something for us. What is it? It's a Happy Death Day. That's the segment that we're going to do.
It is a happy death day. We're going a little off the trail here, what we normally do. And happy death day is usually other than that one time we did Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber.
Not we.
Yeah.
Not we.
You joined me on that ride.
Una means one.
You were in my leaky boat.
Yeah, I was, but I was pulled along as a hostage.
Sure.
No, Happy Death Day. It's to celebrate these people. Okay,
It is.
I
We are
understand
not
your point.
celebrating the Unabomber's life, and we are not celebrating our current Happy Death Day Contestant? Player?
Guest of honor.
Guest? Just guest.
Yeah.
Yes. So happy death day. We normally talk about this person's life who has just died, and we celebrate them as they move on to, whether it be heaven,
Fiery pastures.
or exactly. Or
we don't know that he did it.
Or yes, we do.
We don't know that he did it.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
All right. That's just your opinion, but okay.
And if you haven't guessed already, we are going to be talking about OJ Simpson, the Juice.
Orenthal.
I didn't know that. He's an American football star. Died this week of cancer. I don't know what kind.
Could ask.
Yep. Cancer got him. Not a whole lot of well wishes and what do they call those when somebody dies?
Condolences.
Not a whole lot of condolences for him.
I put condolences out to his family. I do.
No, for him specifically.
Put condolences out to anybody who dies. You always do this to me.
No. You always do this to us.
Human beings deserve to be respected, not their actions. Just because you wish somebody well in the afterlife doesn't mean that you agree with them murdering somebody allegedly.
All right, well, jump online, throw that out there, and let me know how it goes for you.
Say what?
The only notable person who put a condolence up for OJ Simpson was Elon Musk for whatever reason. Very weird dynamic.
Yeah, he doesn't like to be the villain, that's for sure. So that is shocking.
So yes, OJ Simpson, as I said, American football star. For those who may be too young, back in the 90s, I mean, this was when I was like 7 years old.
It was a big deal.
Yeah. Oh, it was, as they called, the trial of the century. He murdered, don't argue with me on this.
You can't...
His former wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ron Goldman, in her home in Los Angeles.
You have no respect for the judicial system.
What they did here? Absolutely not. They fumbled this so fucking hard.
And that is the purpose of everybody deserves a trial. Everybody deserves a fair trial.
Agreed. And I'm also allowed to call out the DA who
That is
totally fuck up.
And I'm not doing a whole deal here. I'm not. I mean, I'm playing it up a little bit, but I mean, he's still a human being.
He is a human being who did horrible things.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yes. If he is guilty of that, as most white people assume that he is, then yes, that is quite horrible. That's true.
You don't think that he's guilty of that?
I don't know. I do not know.
So anyway,
this has brought the show to a scraping halt.
What you're doing is insane. So Nicole Brown Simpson, what a lot of people either don't remember or may not know is, yes, the murder obviously was this huge deal, went to trial, all this stuff. It was all the stuff that happened before it as well. She had testified multiple times about the way that he was treating her.
Yeah.
He was beating her senseless.
That's a fact.
He was verbally abusing her left and right. When they finally split and she was trying to stay away from him, she testified how she would go to the grocery store. And there he was. Yeah. She was driving on the street.
In the OJ aisle.
That was pretty good. She'd be driving in her car. Yeah. He'd be in the car behind her. Everywhere she went, this guy was there.
Yeah.
Think about what kind of life you'd be able to lead with danger
It'd be terrifying.
And threats looming over you like that.
And he had the police department wrapped around his finger. He was OJ, and he was a giant man. He was a big man.
Yeah.
A running back in the NFL. That's like the person who takes the most punishment on the field.
For sure. I mean, Heisman Trophy winner. Like, he was a celebrity. And he went from football.
Beyond a celebrity.
Absolutely.
He was Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan.
He went from football into acting. Like he started, or he was in Naked Gun, which was this huge movie at the time.
Really funny.
Yeah.
Those Hertz commercials, which you probably don't remember.
Those I don't remember.
Yep.
A sportscaster. He did ads.
Super charismatic.
Very charismatic. Yeah. Also a psychopath.
Now, let me ask you this. To throw another wrinkle in of like, oh, look at this asshole trying to show compassion.
Don't like your tone.
Does CTE, if CTE was at play here, which is where somebody's taken so many
hits,
but
tackles.
What's it called when your brain hits your skull?
Oh, concussions.
It's a documented fact now when people have concussion after concussion after concussion, which is the reason why I don't let my son play football. It's not because he's a pussy.
Little A, little B.
It affects your brain and changes the way that your brain works. Would that change your feeling on this?
No, it wouldn't change my feeling because I'm not wishing him to be condemned in hell for all eternity.
Okay.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
I think a lot of people do.
But, for sure, but I can only speak for myself.
Sure.
I can only say that no matter what the cause is, even if he was mentally incapable of knowing the consequences of his actions were still his actions. I don't want for him to be strung up by his toes or anything like that. It just, he very clearly was a danger to society.
That's true. I'm just saying that if somebody has something like that, something that you really can't control. Like there was a football player, he wasn't anywhere as notable as OJ Simpson, had CTE, killed his girlfriend, drove to the Kansas City Chiefs where he was like an offensive lineman or something like that, killed himself in the parking lot. And you say, that's terrible. That's horrible. You've robbed a family of their daughter. And also, you're fucked up. You have almost what could be considered a handicap.
Agreed. But if you had known about it before, you obviously would lock him up. You wouldn't look at him and be like, well, he can't control himself, so what are you going to do?
I'm just talking about compassion. We obviously,
of course,
people have to pay for their mistakes. Not
absolutely.
unlike my boy Kim Jong-un.
Exactly.
We're rooting for you, pal.
And we are not. And I am not sitting here saying that I'm not mother effing him or anything like that.
Right.
I'm just acknowledging his behavior.
I know.
And this dude slit Nicole Brown Simpson's throat so hard and
Allegedly.
so deep that the knife touched her spinal cord.
Yeah.
He turned her basically into a Pez dispenser.
That was unnecessary.
I'm giving you an idea of what it looked like. Think of the rage that would have to go through that,
and the strength.
And he stabbed them multiple times.
Allegedly. Yeah, you're right. I do understand murder, bad. Right? That's your
such a weird character you're playing.
It's not. You forced me into this.
You could have just sat there. You could have just sat there and nodded.
You know I can't do that.
I would have been done with this in 2 minutes.
No, I can't do that.
We would have been done so long ago.
I'm just the voice of compassion, even for bad people.
Sure,
That's it.
Sure.
I feel like that's my place here.
Stay in your lane, buddy. You stay in that lane.
I stand behind it. And you're right. If that is the case, if that is what really happened, then he will be paying the price for it. He paid the price for it his whole life.
Yeah.
He went from this person who was revered and he almost broke away from the African American community and like distanced himself. And then, all this stuff happened and he went back and like he was in a church in a dashiki at one point.
Yeah.
But he basically got the opposite of what he wanted based on, murder, which we shouldn't do.
For sure. And then not that long after, however many years after, he got that assault and robbery charged against him, where he went up where the guy had all of his memorabilia and then like assaulted the guy and stole all of his shit.
And they charged him like with murder.
Yeah, 10 years.
So there
or
you go.
whatever
How about that?
Yeah. So OJ Simpson.
Complicated dude.
Complicated dude, as all humans are. You took it a few steps too far.
I agree.
And I got to do the imaging, but happy death there, whatever.
And again, this man has kids. He has a family. Compassion.
And I feel genuine compassion for the people, his loved ones around him, because they're not, as far as I know, not guilty of any of these things. It's like when your parent,
not like Diddy's kids.
It's no, I think is,
I think they look like they're up to something.
No, I think Diddy's kid just got arrested for something as well.
Well, I know.
I think they just brought him in.
Okay, because we had discussed that they put him in handcuffs. You're talking about after that.
After the fact, yeah. I think we can review.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, we can review.
Bringing your kids in on the family business.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So yeah, but when your family, like, it's like people who either have a parent or a child that turns out to be a serial killer.
Yeah.
Dude, the compassion that I feel for people like that, where this person you love turns out to be a monster.
I immediately think of BTK's daughter.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how bad, you want to talk about daddy issues.
Didn't John Wayne Gacy have kids too?
John Wayne.
Didn't he have like a kid or two?
Kids. I don't recall that.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying that he doesn't, but
maybe
that
I'm
doesn't
mistaken.
jump out.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Bind, Torture, Kill, BTK. His daughter wrote a book, and it's I haven't read it, but to my understanding, kind of morose, kind of sad.
Yeah.
It's probably bad.
Albert Fish as well. He had 3 children who were just in the house with him as he was doing his stuff.
It's am
horrible.
A serial killer buff.
Big fan of his. Big fan. He's a big fan.
And not something that I would admit here. That's for certain. Albert Fish turns me off, man. It's so depraved. It's so dark that I can't stand there with that. Yeah. All right. Speaking of bad people, Tyler, Matt Lauer, not a good dude.
Not a good dude.
On this week's Ryan Vaults of Sound.
Ryan's Vault of Sound.
In the pregame, you and I brushed up against this, but Matt Lauer, explained to the youngins who Matt Lauer is.
Matt Lauer, he used to be this incredibly famous, he was like a talk show host, a newscaster.
Was it
something
Good Morning America?
I believe so.
Okay.
And
one of these shows that's ubiquitous, that's just everywhere.
Yeah. And I personally don't watch any of those shows, but he was a star. Like, he was a household name, and he was at the tippy-whippy top of television hosting.
Not unlike Ellen DeGeneres, he was like just known for being everybody's like playful neighbor.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's just nice. He's just a good dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's it, right? Nothing else happened from that?
He should have given away more free shit like Ellen did. He would have gotten away with it for a lot longer.
That would have made it even worse.
Yeah, sure.
I know we've discussed this many times on the show, but when I found out all that about Ellen, it was like a loss for kindness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Really bummed me out.
Yeah.
So Matt Lauer, and what happens with these things? He was charged with multiple sex crimes. Do I have that correct?
Yeah, he was sexually abusing multiple people,
using his power to just be inappropriate and beyond like hitting on somebody. He was just really using his power to be an uber creep.
Yeah, he was coercing people. Yeah, it's just a person in power who's using that power on somebody who's trying to make this same career their life. So they're literally, their livelihoods are on the line, and it's like, you either do what I say or you lose everything. What kind of fucking position is that?
It's something that we created over hundreds of years and is still being abused to this day.
Oh, over millennia, as long as human beings have been around.
1,000,000%. And I don't know how he fixed that other than just let us kill ourselves off. Anne Hathaway, Tyler.
Done and done.
Les Mis had just come out.
You mean Anne Hathaway?
What did I say?
You just said Hathaway. I just wanted to make sure.
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
She was doing the rounds for her new movie, Les Mis.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of days before she came on the show, somebody had taken a photo of her in a vulnerable position where her skirt, as she was getting out of a car, had raised up a little bit, and they took a picture and it caught a photo of what is now synonymous with just journalism, where it's people being caught, which raises all its own problems. But before we even get into that, I am going to play this clip for you on Ryan's Vault of Sound that will probably make you put your hand over your face.
Oh, great.
In some way.
Anne Hathaway, good morning. Nice to see you.
Morning, Matt.
Seen a lot of you lately.
Sorry about that.
You were.
I'd be happy to stay home, but the film.
Let's just get it out of the way. You had a little wardrobe malfunction the other night. What's the lesson learned from something like that, other than that you keep smiling, which you always do?
Well, it was obviously an unfortunate incident.
Yeah.
I think it kind of made me sad on two accounts. One was that I was very sad that we live in an age when someone takes a picture of another person in a vulnerable moment, and rather than delete it and do the decent thing, sells it. And I'm sorry that we live in a culture that commodifies sexuality of unwilling participants, which brings us back to Les Mis, because that's what my character is. She is someone who is forced to sell sex to benefit her child because she has nothing and there's no social safety net. And so let's get back to Les Mis.
One of the most creative turns of a question I have ever heard, and I'm going to take it at that. That's fine.
What a jackass.
Oh!
What a jackass. Well, how well spoken was she?
Incredible.
She crushed it. And I can't believe I'm agreeing with what he said. Her ability to turn it and change the conversation into where it's supposed to be in the first place.
And just having the
wherewithal.
And just the to be able to brace yourself in such a public moment and to respond in such a how would you even describe that?
I mean, I will say that I'm sure she not only had gotten questions like that already before she appeared on that show, well, was probably ready for something like that.
See, I thought that noise that she made, and I wish I had isolated it, that noise that she made the moment that he asked the question, it sounded to me like she was caught completely off guard.
Oh, see, I think of that as just somebody who, even if they know it's coming, doesn't want to talk about it.
That's
and
crazy.
is put in a uncomfortable. Either way, what a fucked up thing to do to somebody.
Excuse me for stepping on you there. And I don't know if this is helpful to the conversation or what, but I'm just explaining where the situation is. In a lot of these dresses that these Hollywood starlets or anybody wear, they're so tight and so form-fitting that you're not wearing underwear. So it's not like somebody saw your underwear or whatever. This was particularly rough.
Yeah.
And not just what he's asking, but the tone in which he says it and the way that he phrases it. What lesson did you learn?
Yeah.
Listen, next time you go to a movie premiere, don't bring your fucking crotch.
Yeah.
You leave that crotch at home.
Yeah, you come up belly button up. That's all. You come out like
you,
that.
You walk on your hands
Yeah.
like that guy from Kids. Yeah. And it is just so dark.
Yeah.
And it is so painful to hear that it makes me happy that people in that circumstance get their comeuppance, because it just, as a whole, it makes us a better society.
Absolutely. And it really speaks to how dramatic of a shift it has been in such a short amount of time. Because Les Mis didn't come out that long ago. And now we can look back on that behavior, which was so accepted at the time, and be like, ooh.
Well, you know what? I saw this just brought up a wisp of, we had discussed recently, what was the name of that documentary of the Nickelodeon guy?
Oh, Quiet on the Set.
I saw that.
Quiet on Set. Oh, you watched it?
I watched it.
Oh, wow.
That's from my childhood.
Yeah.
I remember now iCarly and
I was going to say, that was a little after me. Drake and Josh.
but that guy I remember from Head of the Class. He was in Head of the Class when I was a kid.
Dan Schneider is
Dan
his name.
Schneider.
Yeah.
And then he bought the Redskins, which turned into the commies. It's incredible.
That's Dan Snyder. Who's also a red bastard.
And then he started making those pretzels.
I'm not doing this with you anymore.
At Snyder's of Hanover.
Let's end the bit.
So here's the deal, is that you look at that stuff now, and there's clips of Ariana Grande sucking her own toes.
Yeah.
And you're like, would this happen anymore? Would somebody put this on TV and nobody be like, excuse me, this is weird.
Yeah.
Like, those times have passed us.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to hope that if Matt Lauer did this now, somebody would be like, excuse me,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
What's your problem?
Sure.
Yeah, and you look at these scenes, as you just said, with Ariana Grande doing this, you look at these scenes where you're like, the person who wrote this script clearly wrote this for themselves. It's like from Dusk Till Dawn, when Quentin Tarantino is drinking champagne off of Selma Hayek's foot. You're like, dude, you clearly wrote this for you.
Oh, you guys putting this in the movie? Okay, we're gonna break for lunch here, guys. Yeah, I just cringed in a way that it hurt my ribs.
At least with that, they're adults and it's a foot. With Ariana Grande, it is also a foot, but she was a fucking child at the time.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
She was, and there was a whole society in that little area that was built around, don't upset Dan. We're employing, molesters.
Yeah.
Me and these kids are disappearing into the back for a little while, and nobody's going to say shit about it if you like your job and your livelihood and feeding your kids. All right, let's go ahead on that. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and it goes right back to what we were talking about at the very beginning, where, hey, if you want your livelihood, this thing that you've worked your entire life for, then you better play ball, or else we'll just get somebody else who will.
And it just makes you feel that all white men are evil at their core, but it's really hard to tell because those are the only people that we're allowing to have power. So it's like our sample size is just not appropriate for this experiment.
Yeah, that's fair. But there's evil women out there as well. Like what's her name who ran the bullshit medical company?
Elizabeth Holmes.
Elizabeth Holmes.
I don't think it was her. I think it's the turtleneck. I think we need to investigate the turtleneck. It's squeezing the brain too hard.
You think it's sentient? You think it's
do.
controlling her?
That was a visual gag for a podcast.
Yeah. If you're wondering why we just went silent there for a second.
I Weekend at Bernie's it, and then I trotted off. We'll be right back.